You may be interested to know there are now 5 oddball Mr. Bean videos available to buy. The chaos kicks off with the amazing adventures of Mr. Bean. Then there's the exciting escapades of Mr. Bean. There's more trouble in store in the terrible tales of Mr. Bean. And not forgetting the merry mishaps of Mr. Bean. And finally, don't miss the latest addition to the series, The Perilous Pursuits of Mr. Bean. Enjoy the oddball world of Mr. Bean with these 5 hilarious, fun-filled videos. Entertainment for the whole family. Now, for the first time ever, Michael Barrymore's hilarious and non-stop live show is available to buy on video. Filmed on the last night of his stunning sellout run at the Blackpool Opera House, this video captures Barrymore at his very best in this unforgettable live extravaganza. He's unconventional, he's unpredictable, he's Michael Barrymore, and he's not just all white, he's sensational.
God, no geriatric punk rockers are allowed on these... Will you... Oh, you are standing. Come along, Grandad, way past your bedtime.
For sheer entertainment, there's just no one like him. This is Michael Barrymore as you've never seen him before.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Come Dancing. And in the daytime, Stephen is a butcher. Woof, 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 woof. Don't worry, you're not a 39-year-old midget trying to wind me up, are you?
Where the hell is it, Lo?
I haven't got one on.
Featuring a full orchestra and a 16-piece dance troupe, this video records forever the magic of Michael Barrymore Live, the complete entertainment event for the whole family.
Back in business and overnight in demand. Well, all right, business is just out of mind. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll.
Hello! Now, before you settle down to the Lover's Guide Part 9 entitled, I'm Lenny Henry, and I love you! Not in a kind of way, but in a could you go out and buy my new video, please kind of way. Now, it's a live concert video, and it's out in November '94, and it's called Loud, because it's packed with kicking, happening, slamming, huge belly laughs, and funky fat music that whops your donut right in the jam, and loud suits that need planning permission before I go on stage. You know what I mean? But hey, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, that's not Sharon Stone. Just kidding. No, my friends, you're thinking, come on, let's see the best bits of your video. Well, here they are. It's the holes. They do it for me every time. What do you call them? I don't know, spool holes or something. To me, they're like the eyes of the video, all smiley and lovely. It's like a panda thing. And they're free with every copy of Loud. And remember, Loud is only available on video because only videos have smiley panda eyes. Oh no, I've got to run. Bloody Simon Bates is here. I'm off. Peace. Panda Man. Ah!
Whenever you rent or buy a video, you need to be sure that the film you choose is suitable for the audience at home. To help you, there are certificates given to films which tell you broadly what the film is like. This film has been classified PG. That stands for parental guidance, which means that parents might want to check up on it before showing it to their younger children. If it's an action film, it might have some violence. If it's romantic, it might have some sexy scenes or very brief nudity. It might also have some of the milder swear words. Video certificates are there to give you the chance to make an informed choice. They allow you to have peace of mind and be entertained. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the film.
Well, here. A really interesting video with an insight into my private life, including my world-famous ring pull collection and physics homework notes from the 1970s. Well, he won't sell many of those. Let's see what else we can catch. Looks like we got another. What have we got this time? Let's have a look. Oh, dear me. Oh, you wouldn't believe it. It's one of those John Virgo No Dad waistcoats. I know now why they call them No Dads. It's because at Christmas all the kids say, "No, Dad, I don't want one of those silly things." I think we got another one. Now, what could we have this time? Let's have a look. Oh, look at this. An old fishing accessory. I wonder who that belongs to. There's no prizes for guessing. Hello? No. No, I'm busy. What? No, I'm not doing it. No, I don't care. Look, I said no, and I mean no. How much? Hang on, I'll be right with you.
Becomes Embassy World Snooker Champion 1985.
Ladies and gentlemen, could I ask you to put your hands together and welcome back to Torbay, Mr. Dennis Taylor.
Well, hello and welcome to an evening with me, Dennis Taylor. And what a show we've got lined up for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, you're going to see a superb snooker player. Secondly, you're going to see some superb trick shots. And thirdly, you're going to hear some superb jokes, eh? Well, 1 out of 3 won't be bad, will it? I was extremely delighted to be asked to do this show. I think it was last Wednesday they asked me. I'm sure it was last Wednesday. Yeah, it was definitely last Wednesday because I remember it was the only day this year that B&Q didn't have a sale on. But I haven't been feeling too well lately, ladies and gentlemen. I had to go and see the doctor yesterday. He said, "Have you been having any problems lately? Have you any trouble passing water?" And I said, "Well, funny you should say that, doctor. I keep getting these dizzy spells every time I drive over London Bridge." He said, "No, I mean, does it burn when you pass water?" I said, "Well, I've never tried lighting it." But what he decided, I was just suffering from a huge hangover. And he was right. You know, I had 15 pints last night. That's the last time I'm drinking that Bacardi. Now, a lot of people always ask me, whereabouts do you come from originally? Well, I come from a quiet little fishing village in the north of Ireland. Some of you may have heard of it. It's called Belfast. Yeah. Oh, we got some in tonight. Yeah, it's twinned with Beirut, isn't it, eh? I'll tell you where I lived, the street I lived in, it was so rough. I'll tell you what, we had a pub in that street that had a pig in the bar as an air freshener. And you know, the local barmaid used to be called Kate Adie. But we were very poor back there. But we're lucky, my father used to be a bit of a handyman. Do you know he knocked 2 rooms into one? We had the highest ceiling in Belfast. But we were very poor. In fact, this is how poor we were. We couldn't even afford laxatives. What we used to do is our mum used to set us on our little potties, and our dad would tell us ghost stories. But there was a family lived next door, you know. They were even poorer than we were. They were called the Kenyans. Every day, a little lad used to come around knocking on the door saying, "Can you lend us this?" and "Can you lend us that?" He came around this day and he said, "My ma says, can you lend us 2 slices of bread? And could you cut it with a jammy knife?" Right? But we're also a very unlucky family. I mean, my dad was so unlucky, he bought a suit with 2 pairs of trousers and burned a hole in the jacket. And my uncle Seamus, he was very unlucky as well. Do you know, he died drinking a can of Long Life. Now, that's unlucky, isn't it? Oh, my uncle Brendan, well, he was the unluckiest of them all. He went into the hospital to have his tonsils out, and some silly sod turned the trolley round. Do you know, his voice has never been the same since, eh? But I was the most unlucky of them all. This is how unlucky I am. If Dolly Parton had triplets, I'd be the one on the bottle. Right? Anyway, on with some trick shots for you. Now, you've probably seen most of these trick shots before. Let's hope you're going to see them this evening. This first shot here is called the disappearing shot. This was made famous by Lord Lucan. The idea is to put the 3 balls in the 2 corner pockets. The black and the white should go in the right corner and the red in the left. Now, if I happen to get one of these, you can give me a little round of applause, all right? Now, all these shots worked one night. Terry Griffiths was playing them. Mind you, we didn't finish till 4:45 in the morning, but... Here we go, 3 balls in the 2 corner pockets. Oh, yeah, somebody's playing a game, I can see. Let's have a look. Very funny. That's very kind. That was very kind of you. I enjoyed that. We have got a proper black in there. Is this the right one now? That's the one. These fellas from Torquay, you know, eh? I thought that was a bit strange, that. I thought I hit it quite well, that one. So here we go. 3 balls in the 2 corner pockets. I thought, good God, the whiskey's good down here, isn't it? So 3 balls, 2 corner pockets. Go on. There. Well, thank you very much. That concludes the trick shots for this evening. Eh? First time I've got that one. This one here just takes a few seconds to set up. Have we got any Alex Higgins supporters in this evening? Yeah? Well, there's not that many, is there? Well, you're very unlucky because Alex should have been with us this evening, only he was launching a ship over in Belfast yesterday, and they can't get him to let go of the bottle. No, that's not true, really. But he did well to qualify for Sheffield. Do you know he had to win 5 matches to get through to the final stages, the televised stages, which is a terrific feat. Now, as we all know, Alex does like a drink, usually just before he gets drunk. But no, while he was at Sheffield, he'd got a new drink because we had to play some of the matches at 10:30 in the morning. So Alex was drinking Scotch and Windeline. He still got drunk every night, but in the morning his eyes were as clear as a bell. It's a good drink. Right, back to the serious stuff. During a game, you often find yourself in this position here. Right, now you've just potted a red. The idea is to pot the blank. There's a few ways of doing this. Did I get that? Did you enjoy that one? That's a cracker, that one, isn't it, eh? Right, we've got to get the white off the side cushion, back over the reds, across the table, and hopefully pot the blank. I must tell you about Alex, while we're talking about Alex there. Do you all watch Question of Sport? Yeah. Now, it's been going for, what, 26 years, a very popular program. Now, Alex only made 1 appearance on it. Does anybody remember when Willie Carson was the team captain? You know, the little jockey? Alex was on with Willie Carson, and it was the part of the program, What Happened Next, right? Now, Alex knows the horsey game inside out, and it was a film from a clip from a horse race. He used to be an apprentice jockey, Alex, when he first came over to England. Now, David Coleman doesn't like you to waste too much time when you're answering the question. Otherwise, they've got to edit it down. So anyway, they froze the film. Alex is smiling away. So David Coleman says, well, obviously, Alex, you know what happened next. And Alex said, well, I know exactly what happened, David, because I was at the races that day. And David says, yes, but what happened next? And Alex said, well, I know exactly what happened because I backed the winner of that race. And David says, yes, but what happened next? And Alex said, I just went up and collected my money like everybody else. He's a great lad, a great character is Alex. The first time he arrived over to Blackburn, where I'm based, he came into the shop I used to work in. He had this big, long box. And I said, what have you got in the box, Alex? And he said, there's snooker cues, Dennis. I said, Alex, if I can guess how many cues you've got in the box, will you give me one? Well, no, I didn't say that. Let me... Behave yourself up there. Let me rephrase that. I said, Alex, if I can guess how many cues you've got in the box, can I have one? And Alex said, Dennis, if you can guess how many cues are in the box, you can have them both. Anyway, I didn't get one. Right. While we've got the reds here, we'll try and make use of them. See if we can pot the black this time into the other corner pocket. We have to spin it around the reds. Now, if you raise the butt of the cue up, strike down on the white, a little bit of right-hand side, the black should spin around the reds. I'll tell you what, they're working well tonight, aren't they, eh? Now, let's see if this one will work. I'm not sure. The triangle seems a little bit thick. We'll try it anyway. Somebody said it's Irish. Can't be. The ones we've got are square, aren't they? What about the fellow on Mastermind? And Magnus Magnuson says your specialized subject. And he's gone Lebanese radiators, 1985 to 1991. And Magnus says, in your name, he said, Terry Waite. I like that. I like that one. You know, they took that, because that's a very popular program as well with that, what's he called, that Magnus Magnici. What's his name? Magnus Magnuson, isn't it? And they went over to Dublin with the program, you know. And it was the only time they'd done it over there. And they had a little fella from Dublin, and Magnus says, all you do is you go out, sit in that black chair, I'll ask you 16 questions over about 2 minutes, see how many you can get right. So the wee fella from Dublin says, well, he says, if I sit in that chair, I want to sit facing the other way. And Magnus says, well, you can't do that. He said, you've got to sit facing me so as I can ask you the questions. He said, well, I'm not going on then. So they've had to let him sit facing the other way. So there's Magnus asked him the question. So Magnus says, what's your name? He says, Seamus Murphy. He says, and where do you come from? He said, I'm from Dublin. He said, and what's your occupation? He said, I'm a taxi driver. That's terrible, isn't it? There's one more mastermind joke I'll tell you. It's about an Irish fella, a Scotsman, and an Indian. Now, that's a nice selection. Is any Indians in tonight? No? The three of them are on mastermind. So Magnus is there. Get the little Scotsman out first. He come out, sat in the chair. The lights went down. Magnus says, your name? He's gone, Archie McPherson from Aberdeen. He said, and your specialised subject? And he's gone, malt whiskey, 1375 to 1875. 16 questions. He got the lot right. The little Irish fella's turn. He come out, sat in the chair, and the lights went down. Magnus says, your name? He says, Seamus O'Shaughnessy from Dublin. He said, and your specialised subject? He said, stout, 1475 to 1895. 16 questions. He got the lot right as well. So it was the wee Indian's turn. So he come out, sat in the chair. The lights went down, not very far, but the lights went down, and Magnus says, your name? He's gone, Mohammed Patel from Bradford. He said, and your specialised subject? And he's gone, anoraks, 1099 to 1599. That's perfect. Dear me. Let's see if we can pot the black again for you into the same pocket. This time we've got the black surrounded with 3 reds. We've got to hit the first red. It knocks the second red out of the way. It in turn knocks the third red up the table. The black comes out of the little cluster, runs up the table, hits the triangle, jumps over the 5 reds and into the pocket. Have you seen this one before? Have you not? No. I've never seen it either. One of these nights it's going to work. Right. Black in the corner pocket. Oh. It's okay. I know what was wrong there. I've got the triangle upside down. Had a cracker, that one, isn't it, eh? Frank Carson used a 10 turkey. I mean, turkey. Right, if I don't get it this time, I'll buy everybody a drink. Here we go. Let's see what I'm like under pressure. Oh, dear. Andy, could I have a pint of orange and 300 straws, please? One last try. That's really confused me. Oh, dear me. You can tell I'm Irish, eh? What about the Irish fellow that was teaching his dog to wee in the gutter and he fell off the roof and killed himself, eh? I like the one about the Irish girl that went to the doctor and she says, Doctor, I forgot to take my contradictive pill. And the doctor says, you're ignorant. And she says, yes, 3 months. Now then she went home and told her mother she was pregnant. And her mother said, are you sure it's yours? Took me a week to work that one out, eh? Right. Last try, double or quits. Took me 3 weeks to get this one night. I'm not going until I get this one, okay? Dear. I should try it with that other black, shouldn't I? Does anybody else play? Who else plays snooker here? Come here, have a go at this here. Give him a round of applause there, come on. Now, what you do is hit that full in the face and hit it as hard as you can. Oh, he's got his own chocolate, eh? So you got it?
Full in the face.
Just full in the face and hit it fairly hard. Give it a good knock. Don't be afraid to give it a good... Yes, get in there. Hey! There we... Well, listen, you haven't finished yet. We might need you again. Oh, dear me. Did you watch the World Championships this year? Stephen Hendry, Jimmy White, eh? What a final that was, unbelievable. I know a lot of you wanted to see Jimmy win, didn't you, I suppose, yeah? But Stephen Hendry, you can't take it away from him. It was a great performance. The tight little sod. Can't get a drink off him at all. Is there any Scotsmen in tonight? Yeah. Is there, yeah? Who bought your ticket, by the way? No, I teamed up with Q Masters, the same management as Stephen, but he is a tight little devil, you know. The first time I went to see him up in Edinburgh there, I knocked on his door. He used to have a flat in Edinburgh. I knocked on the door. So I went in through the door there, and he's got this scraper in his hand, and he's taken the wallpaper off the wall. And I said to him, "Are you decorating, Stephen?" He said, "No, I'm moving." Now, this is how tight he is. The first year he won the World Championships, he took all his family down to Sheffield. And he said if he won the final, he was going to take them all out for a slap-up meal. Anyway, he did manage to win the final. Now, if any of you have been down in Sheffield, near the Crucible Theatre, there's a lovely little chef there. So he took them all out to the little chef and ordered them all bacon, egg, and sausages. And his little brother was there. He's only this size. And he left 2 sausages on the plate. So Stephen, when he was paying the bill, said in a fairly loud voice, oh, he said, "Well, take those sausages home for the dog." And his little brother started jumping up and down, shouting, "Whoopee, we're going to get a dog." It's like the Scotsman that owned a snooker club and he died and left his son 2 snookers. That's terrible. Right, we've got another way of potting the black here. Only this time, we're snookered behind the 15 reds and the triangle. We've got to get the white over the 15 reds, down the table, jump through the triangle, on down the table, and pot the black. Now, if this one doesn't work, I'd cross your legs there. I could finish up with a cannon. Oh, there's a lady billiards player up there. So here we go, over the reds, through the triangle, on down the table, and pot the black. There we go, eh? What about that one about Paddy who walked into a pub, and he's gone up to the fella behind the bar, and he opened his hand, he had a big lump of dog muck in his hand, and he says to the fella behind the bar, "Look at I nearly stood in." That's terrible. But you know, he slipped on one of these on his way into the pub, right? Paddy's going, and he slipped on one of these, went right, and he's in the pub holding his back. And big Flanagan come in behind him, who was 7 foot, and he did the same thing. He slipped in it as well. So Paddy went up to Flanagan, and he says, do you know, Flanagan, I just done that. And, and Flanagan says, you're dirty, and give him such a... I like the one about the Irish girl. Sitting at the bar there, on her own, Paddy goes up and says, would you like a drink? She says, no, thanks, I'm a lesbian. He said, what's one of them? She says, well, do you see the girl serving the drinks behind the bar with the long blonde hair? She said, I'd love to take all her clothes off and make passionate love to her. And Paddy says, Jesus, I must be a lesbian as well. But no, he did say, would you like a drink? She said, well, I'll have a Bristol cream. And Paddy says, well, do you drink that or do you rub it in? I don't get that one. Very tricky shot this to get first time here. We're going to send the red ball off 1, 2, 3 cushions. It should come up, flick the white out of the way, hit the triangle, and make it fall down onto the 15 reds. I might need a couple of goes at this one. This time we'll put the red ball in the corner pocket. No. Now that's got a chance. Go on, get in. This is an unusual way of potting the black here. I've got to shoot the white down the table fairly hard as it comes back up again. Got to strike the white on the bottom. It should stop somewhere around the tip and then spin back to pot the black. It happens fairly quickly, this one. It's a tricky way of potting the black. This time without using the tip of the cue. I hope that, does that go in? Well, I was telling you earlier about that final with Jimmy White and Stephen Hendry. Do you listen to some of these commentators? Yeah, I do a bit of commentating when I'm not playing. In fact, I've been doing a lot of commentating. But no, I enjoy it because you know what the players are going to do because you've played against them all, so it does help you out. But the game first started, you remember Pot Black back in the early days? Pot Black was the thing that got everything started. And there used to be an old referee on there who used to work with Ted Lowe. The referee with the bald head was called Sidney Lee. He used to be a professional player as well, great old character. And he always refereed Pot Black, and he was always frightened of making a mistake when he was on the television. And there was one night, John Spencer was getting ready to play Eddie Charlton. Alan Weeks did the introduction to the program, and he said, and I'll hand you over to the old maestro himself, Sidney Lee. So Sidney tossed the coin up, caught it, and said, John Spencer has won the break and will toss. Well, Spencer couldn't hit a ball for about 15 minutes, you know, for laughing. But Ted comes out with some gems. And I'm sure you all remember the old classic, way back just after colour television started, and Fred Davis was playing, and Fred snookered on the yellow, and Ted Lowe in the commentary box said, well, he said, Fred Davis here snookered on the yellow. For those of you watching in black and white, the yellow's the colour directly behind the blue, right? Or 2 years ago, Jimmy White was playing. Now, I've played Jimmy lots of times, so I have a good idea what he's going to play. And even then, he doesn't always do it. But Ted Lowe's in the commentary box, and he'd never like sticking his neck out when Jimmy's playing. So the reds are all in a bunch, the whites down the table, there's no path back down the table. So Ted said, well, all Jimmy can do here is roll up to the reds. And as he got the word reds out, Jimmy hit the pack at 100 miles an hour. There's a 5-ball plant shot into the corner pocket, screwed the white right back down the table, perfect on the blue. And Ted said, well, I didn't spot that one, eh? Or who was playing? Yeah, Tony Knowles was playing. I mean, he's a great one for the ladies, is Tony. And big, good-looking fella. He's quite a big lad, Tony. He must be 6'3" if he's a... And you know the plant shot? The Canadians are always famous for playing a plant shot. And they're quite difficult if the balls are, you know, not close together. So he's got the shot, and Tony's eyeing it up, and this... You know, he's looking and looking, and Ted Lowe said, well, he said, Tony Knowles is going to find this very difficult here. He said he's got 9 inches between the balls. Well, if he knew Tony, he would have said 12 or something. But his biggest cock-up... let me rephrase. His biggest blunder on TV went out live on the BBC. This is perfectly true. And it involved Fred Davis again. Now, Fred's like myself. He doesn't like to use the rest. He prefers to switch hands. And Fred had this fairly awkward shot. So he tried to reach it with his right hand, threw his leg over the corner of the table, couldn't quite get there. So he fell back off the table, switched hands, and Ted Lowe, live on the BBC, said, well, Fred Davis is 67 years of age now. He's a little bit too old to get his leg over. Instead of leaving it, carried on and said he prefers to use his left hand instead. Right? Good old whispering Ted, eh? This next shot's all about cue action and timing. We've got to get all the coloured balls here for you. And we've got to send them all running around the angles again. They should start interweaving in the middle of the table and eventually all finish up in the top pocket or on the floor. It takes quite a bit of practice to play this shot. This is another speciality of Terry Griffiths. He's another big name in the world of snooker. There must be 15 letters in his name, isn't it? A lot of people think Terry's a bit funny, you know. Well, he is. Now, the reason I know is he closes his eyes every time I kiss him. But he lives in Llanelli, and if you're ever down that way, you might see Terry wandering around the fields, wearing a kilt. He's the only Welshman that wears a kilt. And the reason Terry wears a kilt is because the sheep have got used to the sound of a zip. Let's see if we can get this for you. Here we go. Somebody liked that one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hurry up, Blue. Go on, go, 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 go. Oh. That was a bit lucky, that one, wasn't it? You know, I get a lot of stick about the old glasses, but anybody that wears glasses, they'll know how difficult it is to play snooker. Now, there's a fella in Manchester many years ago who used to play a lot of money matches, and he'd fixed this challenge match up for £1,000. He'd heard about his opponent, but he'd never seen the fella playing. So when the fella arrived at the club, he'd got a pair of thick bifocals on. The other fella's rubbing his hands. He thought, well, this is going to be the easiest money I've ever made. So they set off to play the best of 9. And the fella with the bifocals won the first 5 games. He potted everything. The other fellow went up to him at the end, shook his hand. He said, well, that's incredible. He said, but how do you manage to play like that with a pair of glasses? The fella says, well, it's quite simple. When I get down to take a shot, he said, they're bifocals, so I see a big ball and a little ball, and I see a big pocket and a little pocket, so I pot the little ball into the big pocket. This is a true story, this. The other fella thought I could do with some of those, so he got himself a pair. They fixed up another channels match. This fella arrived back at the table, new bifocals. He's just going to break off, and he had to go to the toilet. Anyway, come back from the toilet, and his right trouser leg was absolutely wet through from top to bottom. And the other fella says, "My God, what happened to you?" And the fella says, "Well, I got in there." Yeah. Somebody's making their own story up there. He said, "I got in there," he said, "I took it out, I seen a big one and a little one, and I thought, that can't be mine, and I put it back again." That's terrible. That reminds me of Paddy had a terrible accident on the building site. You know, he had both his ears ripped off, and he went into the hospital, and he was in there for 3 weeks, and the foreman went in to see him, and he says, "How are you?" Paddy said, "I'm not too bad." He said, "I'll be back into work on Monday." So the foreman goes in Monday, he sees Mick, who's a good mate of Pat's. He says, "Now, Pat's coming back into work on Monday. Whatever you do, don't mention his ears. He's very, very sensitive about it, so don't mention the ears." Anyway, when he got into work on Monday, Paddy's gone in there. Mick's gone straight up to him and says, "How are you?" Paddy said, "I'm not too bad." Mick says, "I see your eyesight's improved." And Paddy says, "What are you talking about?" And Mick says, "Well, you're not wearing your glasses." That's right. Very precise shot, this. Be nice if we could get this for you. I've got to send the white off 1, 2, 3 cushions again. I've somehow got to get it up this little gap here, around the back of the pocket, down the cues, and pot the black. Now, this will bring the house down if I get this one. Testing, testing. Oh, we got a chance. Now, please, go in. Ah. Whew, that was tricky, that one. Like that one that Paddy went for an interview as a bus driver, and he seen the inspector there, walked in. The inspector says, "What's your name?" He says, "Paddy McGulligan." He said, "Could you spell that?" Oh, he says, "Stuff your job. I didn't want it anyway." So he went for an interview on a building site. Goes to see the foreman there. The foreman says, Paddy says, "Can you make tea?" He says, "I can, sir. I worked for Wimpy's for 4.5 years. And the foreman says, "Can you drive a forklift truck?" Paddy says, "How big's the bloody kettle?" He said, "Nip up to the top of the yard and bring me down a wheelbarrow." So off he went. He came back down 5 minutes later, and he had 2 wheelbarrows, one inside the other one. And the foreman says, "Paddy, you're stupid. I told you to bring me 1 wheelbarrow down." And Paddy said, "Well, you didn't think I was going to carry it, did you?" Right, see if we can get the 3 balls in this time for you. Got to get the 3 balls in 3 different pockets, the red, the black, and the white. So that's the 3 balls into 3 different pockets. Keep your eye on the white. It's the tricky one. Is that good? That's all right, wasn't it? I like the nice little story, you know. Paddy's decided to go fishing this day, so off he goes with a little fishing rod, and he's got a little pickaxe. So he gets out there into the ice, cuts himself a nice little circle with the axe, sitting fishing away there, skiddly-die, singing away to himself, diddly-eye, and he hears this voice, "There are no fish in there." He said, "Who was that? Was that God, was it?" He fishes away again, "There are no fish in there." So he turned around, he said, "Is that you, God?" He said, "No, this is the ice rink manager." Terrible, eh? This is a nice little shot, this one here. You've just potted a red, right? The white comes round, you snookered for the black. You'd probably play one of the other colours. If you put plenty of chalk on the tip, nominate the black and you're quick enough. It's just a matter of getting down and potting the black. So don't forget that one. Did you miss that? Did the boys miss that one? I'll do it up this side for you. I'll show you how this one works, and then you'll be able to play this, show your school friends this one. So watch it carefully. In fact, I'll give you an action replay, all right? Have you got it there? Yeah, here we go. Action replay. You're watching. It's quite good, that, isn't it? Ah, dear me. Is there any golfers in this evening? Yeah, there must be some good golfers down here, yeah? I had a game of golf with Ray Reardon, because Ray Reardon lives down this way, doesn't he, Ray? Lives in Brixton. Is it, where's it? Brixton, isn't it? Yeah. That's right, yeah. I played golf with him yesterday. I didn't play that well. I only hit 2 good balls all day. I stood on a rake. What about the 2 fellas that are out playing golf? And they're behind these 2 ladies, and the ladies have been holding them up all the way around. And on the 14th, one of them says to the other, he said, I'm going to go up and tell them, he said, it's taken forever. So he heads down the fairway, and he stops about 30 yards from them, turns and comes back, and his friend says, I thought you were going to tell them. He said it was a bit embarrassing. When I got down there, I realized one was the wife, and the other one's a girlfriend I've been seeing for a few years. And the other fellow says, well, I'll go and tell them. So he headed down the fairway. He stopped about 30 yards from them as well. He came back and said to the fellow, it's a small world, isn't it? Now, I like the one. There's 2 old pensioners playing golf, and they were both hard of hearing, and one of them was playing out of his skin. He was going par, birdie, birdie, par, birdie, but every time he teed the ball up, he's that far in front of the tee box. And he couldn't stand it any longer, this other one. And on the 9th, just as he was addressing the ball, the other one shouts, Albert. So Albert jumped back off the tee, switched his hearing aid up. And George says, he said, Albert, he said, you're a foot in front. And Albert said, you can call me what you want, but I'm still 3 under. He just worked that one out. Took me a week to work that one out as well. Right, we're going to finish off with 2 of the hardest trick shots of them all. This one here, you might have seen this one on television. Now, Ken, can you get a volunteer to help me out with this one? Give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Have you seen this trick shot before?
No.
Well, you're the only one that's not going to see it this evening. All you got to do is, if you just sit here, throw your legs over the end of the table, and just lie down with your head there looking up at the ceiling. It's quite safe, I promise you.
What have I got to do?
Just sit on the table, swing your legs, just watch the cloth, just swing your legs over the end. This is dangerous, this one.
Right.
And just a little bit that way. Not too far, not too far. Back a little bit. And just a little bit more that way. And just lie down and look up at the ceiling. And just bring your head this way. Right. What happens here? We put all the lights out. Now, we've got the white on a block of chalk here. You just bring your whole body a little bit. That's it, yeah. And just, can you just bite that for me? Right. Now, the black is in a fairly tricky position as well, yeah? Now, I've got to pot the black out of... Sorry, what was your first name again? Oh, I'll find out. Oh, sorry, it's Kelly. Got to pot the black out of Kelly's mouth into the top pocket. Now, you'll have to be very quiet. Just chin up a little bit. You'll have to be very quiet, ladies and gentlemen, because the last time I tried this, the young lady swallowed the black. No. Mind, you should have seen the shot I played to get the black out of it. Here we go. I'll do it this time. Black in the top pocket. Just bite there. Just bite on tight on the chalk, yeah. Thanks a lot. Now, I'm going to try and finish off with a machine gun shot for you. Just while I'm getting this ready, I'll tell you one fine little Irish story. It's about Murphy coming home one night along the canal bank, absolutely steamed out of his brains. He'd had about 16 pints of draft drambuie. Now, there was a fella drowning in the canal. Murphy, with all the drinking, he's feeling fairly brave himself, so he decided to jump in and rescue this fella. Anyway, carried on home, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's a knock on the door, 2 policemen there. One of them said, "Good evening, Mr. Murphy. Did you rescue a man from drowning in the canal earlier this evening?" And he said, "I did, officer, but I don't want any medals for it." They said, "Well, God love you, Murphy. We didn't come to give you any medals. Just come to tell you that you shouldn't have bothered because he hung himself instead." And Murphy says, "No, he didn't." He said, "I put him up there to dry." What about the 3 Irish brothers in the lunatic asylum, right? And they're sitting in the lounge there, and one of them says, "I'm going upstairs to take a bath." So he heads up the stairs, he runs the bath, he puts 1 foot into the bath, he stood there with 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and he says to himself, "Jesus, am I getting in the bath or out of the bath?" So now he's screaming down the stairs, "Am I getting in the bath or out of the bath?" So one of the other brothers says, "I'll go up and see what he's on about." So he heads up the stairs, puts 1 foot on the bottom step. He stood there with 1 foot on the step and 1 foot on the floor. So he starts, "Am I going up the stairs or coming down the stairs?" So now he's screaming, "Am I going up the stairs or coming down the stairs?" The other fella's shouting, "Am I getting in the bath or out of the bath?" The third brother says, "Do you see them 2 brothers of mine?" He said, "They're as thick as... Is that the front door or the back door?" That's different, isn't it? Right. Oh, one final little story. Someone asked me to tell this one earlier. Told this many years ago on TV. It was about Paddy was coming over to England for the very first time, and he was waiting at the airport in Belfast. And Mr. and Mrs. Dunn come up to him, and Mrs. Dunn said to him, "When you get over to England, if you see my son Neely, can you tell him to write to me? We haven't heard from him for 2 years." So Paddy says, "Whereabouts does he live?" And Mrs. Dunn said, "London WC1. Anyway, when he got over to Heathrow, he's walking through the airport, and he happened to look over, and he's seen this big door, and it said WC on it. So he went in through the door, went down along the door till he come to number 1, and he knocked on the door, and he said, "Excuse me, are you nearly done?" And the fella says, "Yes, I am, but I can't find any paper." And Paddy says, "Well, that's no excuse for not writing to your mother yet." Right, let's see if we can finish with this machine gun shot for you. This was made famous by the late, great Joe Davis, who was world champion for 20 years. There's only a couple of players play this shot. You'll see why in a minute. In fact, Steve Davis can do this with 15 reds. Brilliant, isn't he, eh? He doesn't use a white, but he can get 15 reds in. No, he doesn't play this shot, Steve. Doesn't need the money, does he, eh? Yeah. He's got so much money, he wrote a check out last week and the bank bounced. He's got a great head for money, Steve. He's got a slot in it right on the top. You can... great ambassador for the game. So the idea is to shoot the white first. Before the white gets there, we'll try and get all the 7 reds in. And if this works, you can bring a house down there. Right. Thanks very much. Okay. Right. Thanks very much. Thanks a lot.
A warm thank you to a marvellous sportsman and entertainer, Mr. Dennis Taylor. Thank you.
Talking of false teeth, we've got a few minutes to kill, so here's a man who'll kill 'em stone dead. My hairy helper, the one and only John Virgo! Yes, girls, old greybeard is back, I think.
Can we get on with it? These lights are making me feel real funny.
Much today, is it? Yeah, how are you? All right. Dennis Taylor from BBC Replacement Windows. That sounds like a good dog you've got there, is it? What is it? What type of... A wolfhound, is it? An Irish wolfhound, is it? Ah. As I say, we're sort of here to see if you might be interested. Is that the dog you get? It's all right. Are you sure it's all right? Make sure you keep the door closed, will you? Because I've got another exhibition in February next year.
The pink could definitely move, Dennis.
Could we get it on its spot?
You've got plenty of time.
Oh, the pink's
plenty of
gonna
time.
move.
This pink could move, I promise you.
£1,200 for that pink. Back with the black,
Plenty
Dennis.
of
This
time,
is the
Dennis.
World Championship
Come on,
stuff.
20 seconds.
Come on, ball, stop. £1,500 for your charity ad for you.
Come on, go.
Go.
Get in.
Go.
Get in.
Take your time,
Go.
Dennis. Lots of
Go.
time.
Go.
Have that.